This
to
that
Game
ends that
Club.
way, right?
This is Game Club, not free play.
Yes.
Calm down.
No, I mean that's at the end of the song goes. Ah! There's like the ah!
Less energy.
A little bit, take it down.
We're a refined show.
Okay, hold on.
We're the smart show, Ryan.
We're here to talk about artistic, sophisticated,
Sophisticated? How
video
sophisticated
games
was it?
like Bastion.
Well, this video game was sophisticated.
It
I
was.
liked it. So for this,
It was deep.
For this episode of Game Club, we all played Bastion, which I was super excited about. We even put this Game Club off by a week because Gus and I were both gone at PAX, and we both really, really liked this game, and so we wanted to make sure that we were able to talk about it. I went back through and played it again. It was so nice.
I have to say I understand why, because I really did enjoy it a lot. It's a very pretty game. Gets a little weird, every now and again, but I can appreciate a little weird.
Yeah, it's a little bit surreal. Just it's
In
the
the
way
way-
the gameplay and the story sort of come together largely with levels for me. It was the fact that it builds the level as you progress through it, which
Right.
is always really cool.
And I think they do a great job, even right off the bat, of setting the tone of that game from the very beginning when you start with like the character getting up and the narrator just, talking about what's going on. And
Dude, the
like,
narrator's my favorite.
yeah, the narrator's awesome in that game.
It took a while to get used to just the idea that, oh, okay, this is going to happen. Like, this is the game. He will continue talking. Like, at first it's like, oh, okay, he's kind of set. Nope, it's the whole thing.
Yeah,
Which was fine because he was really good.
I liked that happened too with Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time, when you die and then be like, no, wait, what? That's not what happened, and back it up. I liked doing that too with Bastion. It's like, just kidding, drops you back on the level, and he keeps going through.
And it was a beautiful game. I really loved the art direction on it. I thought all of the style was really nice. It's just super polished. And we were talking about this before we started. It was Supergiant's first game.
Yeah, which I would never believe this was a studio's first game.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been out
The
since...
Spy made game, I could see that being someone's first
Uh-huh.
game. This one was a lot more
This one
polished.
came out 2011.
So I
and
think
it was written by Greg Cassavin. This was what he worked on after he left GameSpot, right?
GameSpot, yeah.
Yeah, when he decided he wanted to be a developer, not a journalist. And thank you, Cassavin, because seriously,
Nailed
it's
it.
good.
Yeah, I did not replay Bastion for Game Club. I'd played it previously. I think it had been available at one point on Xbox Live Games with Gold years ago, maybe
really?
back in 2012, and I think that's when I picked it up. So my memory's a little fuzzy, but I did finish it at that time when it came out.
It's
Yeah,
on
it
an
is-
odd spread of consoles. It's on the 360 and then the PS4.
Yeah, it's 360, PC, iOS, Chrome. There's a Chrome version. PS4 and PS Vita. So it's not on PS3, but it's also not on Xbox One. They sort of swapped for
Yeah.
the generation move. But it's the fact that it's on PC means that really anyone can play it.
Yeah.
That's how I ended up playing it this time around. Is I plugged a controller into my PC and played it on Steam, and it was awesome.
Worked really well. Will say the controls occasionally would be a little hinky.
Well, the first time I played it on PC, but I used keyboard mouse, and that was not a friendly experience. Maybe it's just that I have a lot of experience with controllers, but for me, being an isometric sort of game, that worked really well for me.
And they stuck with that isometric format with Transistor.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of
Which is
system.
also somewhere in the cylinder, and I hope we get to play that soon too.
Transistor's a great game. But what I hate to put you on the spot, but what other games has Supergiant made?
So let's see. Let's have a look here. I think those are their two.
Transistor and Bastion.
Bastion and Transistor, yeah.
And Transistor, yeah. So
So they're batting 1,000, in my opinion.
it's a very good studio.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I think Bastion took probably between 5 and 6 hours to finish.
Can be, yeah. It depends on how much of the. I will say that they did a good job of giving you secondary things to do, not strictly required, but they had the whole system of, it started with M, like memoirs or mementos.
Yeah, so you could unlock.
There were sub challenges basically.
Yeah, it wasn't Lost and Found. It was the one where
Lost
you
and
could go
Found
and
is where you got
unlock the
stuff.
stranger's sketches.
Yes. And those would be basically like weapon-based or item-based sub-challenges where it's like kill 15 enemies with a single shot from the scrap musket. So that was cool that he had those little side things, and then they had every weapon specific had a challenge map to it, a proving ground to it.
Yeah. So there we go. 6.5 hours is the average for the main story. If you do main and extras, it could be a little over 9. Completionist, it says 20 hours. So, damn, y'all, you really playing
It's a
a
lot of
completion.
playing.
Maybe that's New Game Plus?
Yeah, it must be New Game
Maybe.
Plus as well. And I think the length it was fine. I felt like
Yeah.
if it had gone on much longer, I would have felt like it was dragging.
Yeah.
I think sticking at about 6 hours was just the nice bite-sized experience that it should have been.
Yeah, it had a great, kind of story to it. It was a pretty simple story, though it starts off very strange. So it takes a minute to kind of get used to the premise of you're in a
You
post.
woke up and the world ended.
Yeah, the world was over, basically.
So the premise is that this world, Salondia, or that's how you pronounce it, right?
Salondia.
Salondia.
Yeah.
I always want to pronounce it Calondia because it got
Yeah.
a C on it.
It looks like Caledonia.
Right. You wake up, the world's ended, and everyone was supposed to go to this place called the Bastion, which is like the one place that remains that's stable because the rest of the world got all blowed up. And it turns out you're there, and then there's this stranger there, this old dude with white hair and an amazing voice.
Who you
and,
never asked his name, apparently.
He's just
The stranger, yeah.
He's straight. Well, he's Ruck.
I mean, he's Rux, but I like him as the stranger because it's like he's got a very cowboy
Yeah.
sort of sound
Kid
to him,
woke up.
and the stranger suits that much better than a Rux.
Yeah.
Like Ruxpin, what?
The kid was
Pull
going to
on
be
your
fine.
string, you say words. Yeah, so then you have to go through and you have to try and recover cores to rebuild the Bastion, and then that goes
You
all
find some
tits
survivors
up.
along the
right,
way.
You find some survivors who you're really happy about, and they go and fuck shit up.
One of them does, yeah.
Well, yeah, one of them. But
And
yeah,
even he fucks stuff up, but he's got a real good motivation for it. Like, it makes sense
He
why
does.
he does it.
like you just can't stay mad at him.
It's true.
I think I think I was reading over your shoulder there that Greg Casman, I believe, was the writer on this game.
was,
Yeah,
yes.
which makes a lot of sense. I think I don't remember really knowing anybody on the GameSpot staff other than his name was the only one I used to recognize back in the day.
Stood out.
Yeah, it's the one that stood out.
So
And
there were a couple.
he also wrote Transistor.
Oh, really? Okay. There were a couple branches. I was curious to know what you guys
I was going to
decided.
ask about this. So,
Yeah.
first of all, did you save Zolf or did you leave him?
I saved Zolf.
You saved Zolf.
I did.
If I remember right, I saved also.
You did? I
Yeah,
would have
yeah.
guessed you'd just like leave him straight up.
No, I'm not a bad guy.
Hey, we know why he did what he did. It's okay, Zolf.
Yeah, I had
All
to
right.
save him. I had to save him.
All right.
I was so worried that I was gonna die too with all the arrows coming in, and I was running out of the hell that I just. And it turns out they just stopped shooting at you,
They give you
which
that
is nice.
honor moment, like. Well, did you notice that one guy shoots you there towards the end,
And
and
then
then the
just,
other
like,
friend
knock him
knocks him out? Like, no, you watch, honor.
Right.
I guess because you leave and then Zolf is gone, so I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
to
he
Zolf.
pops up in the credits if you saved him.
Yeah, okay.
But
Oh, that's dependent on you
it's
saving
dependent
it.
on the
Interesting.
next. Yes. So, but that's also kind of there's the next branch that
Yes.
comes after that, which is did you restore the Bastion or did you
Or the
restore
world.
Salondia or did you evacuate?
Restored.
I also restored.
I also restored. Dang it, we're really
We played
predictable.
exactly the same.
Well, the thing is, it's
We
like
should-
we should have
should've talked about
coordinated.
this.
what a weird, selfish choice. Because basically, what it comes down to is you are presented with the choice to undo the disaster. With, granted, no guarantee that it wouldn't immediately happen again. It just reverses time. Basically, it resets to prior to the disaster.
So there's a chance that it won't happen again.
Yeah, there's no guarantee that anybody will remember anything that happened after that happened.
Right, 'cause they've never
after
tested it.
the disaster.
It's like
right.
Superman going backwards.
Right.
Well, it's a little
Sorta.
bit like at the end of Galaxy Quest, he activates the Omega 13.
The Omega 13,
That's
yeah.
right, and he goes back 13 seconds. This goes back a little bit longer.
Just enough time to fix one bad decision. But you got to remember that it happened.
That's true.
Then they even bring that up as like, so what's to stop it from happening again?
Here's the
I
thing.
don't know.
Here's the thing, Ryan.
Yeah?
I was reading about this because I didn't have time to play all through New Game Plus, but I guess New Game Plus kind of hints that it didn't stop it.
That I wondered if that was setting up like a
Yeah.
cycle of you doing this over and
New
over
game
again.
plus.
Until you eventually decide to evacuate because you, I guess,
Maybe.
give
So
up
maybe
on-
evacuate is the only true ending. Like the world is ended and you can't actually save it. It's kind of a grim message.
I'm curious
but
to know now if the completionist that we saw in How Long to Beat like resolves
If there's a way
that.
to save
If
it,
there, or if there's like
okay.
a resolution one way.
the final ending.
If
Right.
there is, I haven't heard anything about that, but I would love to see it. You know how I am with happy endings.
Can we talk about Zia for a minute though? What's up with that girl? Like, oh yeah, nah, you know what?
She's
the
like-
only happy times I've had is since everyone else has been dead. Why don't we just leave? Why don't we just leave them all dead? We could put them all back to life, but
I mean,
She's also the person that like went off with the enemy because she's like, yeah, I just want to see what they do.
I would subscribe to her newsletter.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to hear a little more about this.
That's
You
fair
know,
guess.
let's leave everyone like that line of thinking. I
It's
mean, I'm not
quieter.
saying I would do it, but
It's-
let's give her a chance.
You know what I felt really terrible about was, the stone statues of people, because everyone who didn't make it to the Bastion
they're
got turned
ash.
to stone, or ash.
Yeah.
I was thinking of them as stone, but yes, you're correct. And
It's like the
the
Pompeii
first
people.
one that I saw, I didn't realize what it was, and I was just like bashing down everything and get stuff out of it, and I bashed it, and it was just like, that was old so and so. She tried to teach the kid manners. It never worked, and I was like, oh no!
That
I
was the
killed
first
a
one you got. You
person.
didn't get the guy in the bar.
No.
I knocked them all down.
No, I that was just one because I didn't realize what she was, and I thought she was rubble. And then there's a little, just not much later on, there's this circle of people around the core, and you have to destroy one or more of them to get to it. I felt so bad, like,
You get
Yeah, you're gonna fix them. Don't worry about it.
yeah. If everything goes well, they'll be fine. They'll thank you
Or
for
they're
it later.
dead forever.
right. If not, it's not like they're suffering anyway, as far as we know, right?
Well, they're ash.
Maybe they were suffering, and you like destroying their
Yeah.
ashen form would have like saved them.
Hey, the first guy, if the guy in the bar, when you knock him down, it's like he wanted his ashes spread across this area anyway. I did it.
You did it. You fulfilled his wish.
Which is funny because I guess that does kind of answer the question, because I wondered how much of the dialogue, the narration, was dynamic based on what you were doing. Because there's the first area where you get the hammer and you go out into the next zone, and I just spend a minute smashing everything. And the dialogue, it goes quiet for a minute. He's like, got the hammer. You spend a few minutes just kind of raging on everything, swinging and shit. And
Yeah, it makes me
breaking.
wonder how much dialogue was recorded and how much
Uh-huh.
like do you hear in a typical playthrough, and how much like would you not hear unless you went back and played a different way.
Or if there weren't too many branching decisions. So I mean, it's a pretty linear game for the most part. There's not a lot that would be different other than New
Yeah,
Game Plus. You get
you
all
can
your
choose a
upgrades.
different
Loitering with a
order
hammer.
for some of the
Yeah.
areas that you go through. but-
Well, and they also have another kind of replayability thing where they have the shrine where you can add modifiers, which work very much like the skulls in Halo. So if
Yeah.
you want to make it more of a challenge for yourself, you can turn those on and get more rewards, but it also makes it much harder.
Right, like the first one that comes up by default, I think, is like it makes all your enemies faster and attack more. And I was like, why would I turn that on? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, the skulls
To be
analogy
fair,
from
I was
Halo's
trying to get
good.
through the game fast though.
And they stack, so you can turn on multiple, which I made the mistake of doing before I went into the elsewhere or not here or who knows where.
How'd that
who knows
go?
where? I failed a few times because I thought I could do it. I couldn't do it. Those get pretty hard. They're kind of like a challenge map that you can go and just test out weapons and get more of the currency you use to upgrade things.
Yeah, you did well with challenges as well. You did all the proving grounds to first place, right?
I did, yeah. Every map icon I start out.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's.
I did
for-
not upgrade all the weapons though.
Right. So for those that didn't play it, there's a proving ground for each of the weapons you can get. There's what? Is it 5?
Oh gosh, there's more than 5 weapons. There's like
There's There's the war
10?
machete. There's the bow and arrow. There's the musket. There's the sword.
army
No, the sword
carbine.
is the war machete.
yeah. There's
Yeah.
It's the hammer, the machete, the pike,
Right.
the bellows, the mortar, the army carbine, the bow, the repeater.
I like the repeater.
The repeater's really good. That final cannon,
The pistol.
the crisis
that one?
cannon, the pistols.
Okay, so there are
think
a
there's
lot.
10.
Yeah.
There's a proving ground for each one. It's a challenge that you have to go through and clear out this area with just that one weapon. Some of them are brutal. The war machetes in particular is evil.
It's impressive that you played the game and did all of that in one evening.
Yeah, I started it and finished it yesterday. I started it yesterday afternoon and finished it at like 2 a.m.
It is like, 6.5 hour game. He went clearly the more
Yeah.
completionist route.
I think I'll have to check Steam, but I think I put 6.5. And I kind of blew through it a little bit. Like I did that extra stuff, but I didn't run as much stuff with the shrines on as I could have just to get through it faster. Like the individual maps are a good length. They're not terribly long. So
Yeah.
it's very playable. It doesn't get too tedious. You're like, oh, that's a good length. Now I can go back, upgrade some stuff, and then go out on another one. And it broke it up nicely to do the proving grounds between the retrieve missions to get the cores and then the shards, just to kind of give it some difference in gameplay.
It's nice.
Yeah. So I think it was good. I liked it.
Yeah,
This is a
I would
great game.
recommend people pick it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Let me see how much.
Do
It
you remember
costs
how much it
these
was on
days,
Steam?
but-
It was $15 on Steam.
Yeah,
I think it's worth it. Normally I complain about that $15 price point, because I feel like too much stuff is priced there that shouldn't
Yeah.
be there. I think 15 is totally fair.
I think it
Bastion.
definitely has a replayability to it where I could go through it a second time, and even right now, and be fine with it.
Yeah.
And that would get you to that like dollar per hour kind of zone.
Yeah, so it's 15. Also, by the way, the soundtrack,
Really good.
we didn't talk about this, but amazing soundtrack. They actually, it's funny, you can stream it on their site, so some days I would just go and I'd put it up in my browser, I'd just play through the Bastion soundtrack. I did that enough that I finally broke down. I bought it on iTunes, so I just have it on my phone. It makes a really great travel soundtrack.
I think they did the same thing with Transistor when it came out as well.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
so I
bought that too.
I can see that influence. Should we
right.
consult the
Let's
cylinder
pick
of
the next
selection?
game.
Ryan, are you going to pick it or Ashley?
sure.
I feel like I picked it last time,
did.
so I don't want to.
We keep picking Gus games.
I know. I want another Gus game. I don't know what else I have in there at this point, actually.
And
The suspense is killing me.
really?
What?
All right.
What?
Well, the community would like us to play Spec Ops: The Line.
I've heard really good things about that.
I have too, actually. A lot of it. It was very well reviewed, and I don't think a lot of people played it.
Yeah,
It didn't do that well.
Yeah, I've heard. I think every review I ever heard, every person who's played it, who's talked about it, says that game is so good and more people need to play it. So
Initially, that seemed like an odd choice for the cylinder, but I guess in light of the fact that it didn't get that wide of a play, that
It's
makes
also, a shorter. What was that? It's also a shorter game. It has a lot of sort of social commentary to it. It's retelling of.
It's one of the Mideast wars, right?
Yes, but it's also a book, like out of Into the Jungle or something like that.
Really?
It's, yeah, it's got a lot of elements to that. So just keep an eye out for that. We'll discuss it next week.
Like Heart of
Spec Ops:
Darkness.
The Line.
yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
And let me see
Yeah.
let me see what platform Spec Ops
Into
is
the
on
Jungle.
as well. It's
Welcome to the jungle.
slightly different.
La
one.
la 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 la.
I think I'm going to be out next week on Wednesday. I might. Fuck. I really want to play this game. I'm going to play the game anyway, though.
We'd shoot Tuesday, I guess.
Heart
Heart of
Darkness.
Darkness. There
Yeah.
we go. Totally different, but yes.
No, we got it. Like
Appreciate
Ryan
that.
and I were. We knew.
Okay, so the game is available on PC, PS3, and Xbox 360.
Okay. Well, join us next time, and we will check that one out.
We'll see you guys then.
Bye.